soared. It was just a great food plan for him at that time, okay? I mean, he lost some weight. He felt really good. He had lots of energy. I started losing my energy. I actually developed sores around my mouth, and my energy was just really going down the drain. And I realized this is like any other diet. I cannot put this. I had the whole book written, okay? Mm-hmm. And I thought, I cannot put this out there. This is going to help some people, and it's not going to help some people. It's going to be just like any other diet plan. So, which, like, if you've ever tried one, I mean, I've been on diets before, and some of them have worked really nicely, and then done it again. It's like, what's up with that? This didn't work a bit. Yeah. So you're on a diet or you're off a diet. What I teach people is it's really a relationship book, okay? It's not a push me, pull you, and it's not like an affair with something and then you break up. No, it is about getting back to the first, you knew when you were born how to eat. Mm-hmm. If you think about a tiny little baby, they will eat just enough until they're full. They will spit it out. And really, if they don't like it, you're going to get that food back at your face, okay? It's going to throw off the high chair. But we know when we're full. We know when we're hungry. And we either eat or we don't, and we know what we like. So it's getting back, and I teach you how to get back to that relationship with food. And that's pretty much my main reason for this book as well, and teaching you how to not diet. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, that does. So I'd like to talk a little bit about your process of actually writing the book. So So what was it like to actually write the book? And did you write in the mornings? Did you write in the afternoons? How did you structure your day to make the act of writing this very, very good book possible?
Well, I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to structure. Some days I like to do this, some days I like to do that. So I have through the process, okay, through writing the book, I have refined, because I used to be, let's say, a late night person. When I had my 6 little kids, and my husband and I actually joined forces about within the year of when we met. He had 6 kids. I had 6 kids. Oh. And he adopted all mine, and that's a cool story, too. Yeah. But when I had my little children, I would actually, work like into 2 or 3 in the morning even, and that was really good for me. But at the time I was writing the book, I found that I just kind of flip-flopped to early mornings. And I loved doing the writing during early mornings. And information gathering during the day as I was going about other work and, taking breaks. But that's kind of where I morphed into, was a schedule like that. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now, because mornings seem to be more like my sweet spot than late at night.
Sure. So what's the future of what your work is right now? Do you have more books that you would like to write? Are you doing more workshops, or where are you moving your brand?
I love doing workshops. I really, really do. I've been doing workshops and teaching people about my book. I've been doing, book signings, and I would like to, and moving into more of like a lot of videos with YouTube on helping you to be able to use your food codes best, because it's an old concept, okay? This is actually our ancestors, our grandmothers, that our ancestors ate all organic, right? They ate whole foods. It's getting back to that again and teaching people how to go back to their roots of how to prepare food. And so I'd like to do a lot more YouTube videos, and that's in the work, as well as workshops. And I do work one-on-one currently with people too. I do take some new clients.
Oh, excellent. So actually, the clients you work with, do you do that virtually, or do they come visit you in Montana?
Virtually now. We used to actually have, when I worked with my husband in his office, we had people come from all over the country, mostly the U.S. and Canada, and some out of the U.S. And they, it costs a lot to do that. Mm-hmm. It costs a lot for someone to fly in or, and hotel room and so on. Now it is very, very inexpensive. Started working virtually. I work with Skype or some of the other platforms and just a lot of telephone work. So I can test myself. You could do this as well. You can learn to use yourself as a proxy, basically, and then energetically tune in, so to speak, with the other person. And so that's what I do most days now, is work with people all over the globe and do that at a distance.
Yeah, wonderful. So in your own journey, I know that you've had ups and downs in your life. Could you tell me how, when times are difficult or when you're fearful, how do you approach those instances and how do you overcome them?
That's a super good question. There are ups and downs. I've had just a few of those in my life. About 5 years ago, actually today, 5 years ago to the date today, my sweet husband, Bruce, we woke up early in the morning, and I mentioned this a little bit in my book, but he started acting funny. He stopped breathing, and, I won't go into the whole thing, but he actually had a major brain aneurysm. I was right next to him. Otherwise, he would have died immediately, and he actually did. But I immediately started doing so my first thing was praying. Actually, the first thing that hit with this major thing that happened as he's going through, I just immediately went into a prayer. Oh, the Creator, please help. And then I started doing CPR on him. Long story short, he was life flighted that day, to another city because he had a massive amount of blood in his brain that he couldn't, they couldn't help him in our city. And so during that time and this extreme time of stress, I depended much on prayer, on intuition, good food to keep myself healthy, and also worked with the hospital to keep him healthier. And so prayer is one of my go-to things. It really is. I meditate, and you don't have to meditate for even very long. Just sit quietly, bring yourself down, get yourself, let's just feel my fingertips, feel my toes, get myself centered, that sort of a thing. Does that make sense, Yuri?
Yeah, yes, it does. That's good. So I'm curious, with everything that you've done and experienced so far, what would you say has been the best advice that you've ever received?
One of the best things, I think, is a couple of them. One is to, even when you're by yourself, have integrity. Okay? Whenever you're even alone, it's not just integrity when you're out and about and people are watching you. No, I think the very best thing that I've ever learned was to keep your integrity at all times. Whether you're with yourself, nobody can see what you're doing, or you're in the public. I think that's the best piece of advice.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. So, Lana, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciate it. If the listeners would like to buy your book or read more about what you're doing or perhaps work with you, where is the best place they can go for each of those?
Go to my website. It's a beautiful website, by the way, very colorful. I have a great blog. I've got more information there. It's called The Food Codes, plural, thefoodcodes.com. And you can buy my book from my website, or you can go to amazon.com and just look up The Food Codes, Lana Nelson. So I'd be happy to have you read my book.
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much. This has been an absolute delight, and I will make sure that all of those links are in the show notes so people can click right through.
Thank you so much, Yuri.
Great.
Appreciate it much.
Great. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Advance Your Art podcast. If you like this episode, please go into iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button so that every single time I release a new episode, it will go directly to you without even thinking about it. If you're interested in hearing older episodes, please go to advanceyourart.com where you can find the catalog of everything I've done so far, as well as contact information and projects I'm working on. Thank you again, and have a great day.